This letter shocked and saddened Rizal so much as Leonor informed him that she will be married to an Englishman chosen for her by her mother. It took him several weeks before he was able to divulge to Blumentritt his broken-heartedness and despair. Blumentritt, cognizant of Rizal's misfortunes, consoled Rizal. He tried to make Rizal realize that Leonor Rivera was not the woman for him. Moreover, he stressed the point that even though he lost Leonor, Rizal had nobler object of love, which was none other than his motherland. At the outset, Rizal was the undisputed leader of the Filipino expatriates in Europe. As the recognized leader of the propagandists, Rizal endeavored to imbue his fellow reformers with his brand of idealism. He was on the belief that to gain the respect of the Spaniards and their government, they ought to demonstrate a high sense of morality and dignity and be willing to make sacrifices for their country. Nonetheless, Rizal's idealism was something unacceptable to his fellow reformers. Instead of heeding Rizal's call, they indulged so much in drinking and gambling. What was worst was that many of them became preoccupied with women. The foregoing had a telling effect on Rizal's leadership in the propaganda movement. Some of his former supporters started shying away from Rizal. This was because they felt that Rizal was intruding on their private lives as individuals. Some of them, therefore, started shifting their loyalty to Del Pilar. According to Guerrero, Del Pilar was the only rival of Rizal for leadership in the reform movement. This was because Del Pilar was quite modern in his concept of political activity, belief in organization, as well as in his efficient and skillful employment of mass propaganda methods. Moreover, Del Pilar was an epitome of a modern politician, lawyer, journalist, and a civic leader fused into one. The rift between Rizal and Del Pilar was accentuated by the editorial policy of the La Solidaridad under the latter's management, that La Solidaridad has to be run as a business contrary to Rizal's idea that it should be run as a patriotic venture. Rizal objected to the editorial policy of Del Pilar as it ran counter to his political views. To prevent the breakup between the two, a meeting was held on January 1, 1891 to settle the differences between Rizal and Del Pilar and bolster the campaign for reforms. The meeting, attended by 90 Filipino expatriates in Madrid, resolved to elect a responsable to direct the affairs of the Filipino community and at the same time agree on the editorial policy of the La Solidaridad. Del Pilar contested the proposal that the Soli be placed under the control of a responsable as the publication was a private venture. Nonetheless, he agreed to publish articles expressing the aspirations and demands of the Filipino people. At any rate, the Filipino expatriates in Madrid proceeded with the business of the day. The ground rules were set for the election of a responsable. For anyone to be elected, 2/3 vote of the members of those in attendance had to be secured. Voting took place with Del Pilar and Rizal as contenders. This divided the Filipinos in Madrid into two camps, the Rizalistas and Pilaristas. The balloting that ensued resulted in 3 inconclusive ballots, with 2 more the following day. Annoyed by the situation, Rizal walked out. To prevent further division of the Filipino community, Del Pilar directed Mariano Ponce to convince the Pilaristas to vote for Rizal. Rizal was finally elected as a consequence of what Ponce did. Rizal nonetheless did not accept the conveyed position. For him, the election that took place was an insult on his part. As pointed out by Guerrero, Rizal wanted his leadership to be recognized and accepted on the basis of his merits and readiness to serve. As a leader, he did not expect any opposition from his compatriots in Madrid. As he was the recognized leader of the Filipino community abroad, Del Pilar should have withdrawn his candidacy at the very beginning of the balloting. Aware of the fact that the Pilaristas hated him, Rizal felt that leading the Filipino community in the struggle would only heighten disunity among the expatriates. Rizal therefore abdicated the position of leadership conferred to him by his fellow reformer.
Created using Powtoon.